Hey guys, let me finish setting up here. So we are here. It's Tuesday, August 31st at 3:30, and I'm here doing another live video. And today, rather than talk about a legal topic, I was kind of going to give y'all an update on the status of the courthouse, because every day we get calls from clients about whether or not they have to appear, and the answer is different for every court. Uh, so I think most of you know by now that back on July the 10th, there was a fire in the courthouse on the third floor. Okay. It's rumored to have started from a coffee pot, a Keurig, on someone's desk. Now, from the pictures I saw, the fire didn't do all that much damage, but the sprinkler system apparently ran for a very long time, to the point that the water damaged the third floor, second floor, and first floor. When I say damaged, I mean had to rip out all the carpet. A bunch of wood was destroyed. Walls that had to be re-sheetrocked, painted, all that. Some major renovations going on. I don't know that you'd call it a renovation, but a restoration in the courthouse. But so on the first floor, you had Billy Williams' court, and you had child support court, you had the jury assembly room, and more importantly, you had the DA's office, all of which have been gutted so that, it can be restored after the damage. And so, as a result, the only floor we have that was not damaged beyond use was the fourth floor, which means that there are 4 courtrooms available for all the courtrooms to share, or all the other judges to share, and they've worked out a system where they rotate. This day is the 56, the next day is another court, and so on and so on in each courtroom. There are some courts that, in order to try and move their docket a little better, have now started having afternoon dockets starting at 1:30 to help move things along until the damage is repaired. And I don't have a good date to tell you when that's going to be. I had a judge recently tell me that she plans on picking juries in October, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But so it should be done sometime in September, I suppose, if at least one court is going to start jury trials again. But the questions we get every day is, do I have to come to court? And the answer is not the same for everyone. And as some of you know, I have clients that know each other, and so, client A will call and say, do I have to be in court tomorrow? And I'll tell them no. 2 days later, client B calls and says, do I have to be in court tomorrow? And I say yes. And they say, well, you didn't make A appear in court the other day. And it's not me, it's the individual courts that have different policies. Some courts don't make anyone appear. Some courts, there's at least one court that makes drug testers appear, but not necessarily everyone. There's another court that really doesn't make anyone appear unless you have to. What I'm telling you is there's no uniform practice in the courthouse. And so that kind of brings up another problem, I guess you could say, that we have going on right now, which is that COVID, as you all know, is now on the rise again. I think last Friday was Galveston County's biggest number, and I think we had posted 452 new cases in one day, and that's, I guess, the biggest number we've ever had. today I think it was 269 new cases reported. But, you know, the first wave when we had COVID, it was not safe. So the medical profession thought to have that many people in a room. They say now that this Delta variant spreads more easily than the previous COVID that we had going around. And so I think the issue is we don't know yet what the health department is going to say about congregating in groups again while COVID continues to grow the way it is. So I don't have any way to know if jury trials will resume in October. Now, as I said, I had one judge tell me that she plans on picking 4 panels in October. And I guess October's far enough away that we don't know where the COVID numbers will be by then. So I don't know what the health district's going to say about people congregating in the jury room. But, you know, that brings up another issue that seems to be coming back around, which is whether or not you have to wear a mask. And that's another area where we don't have uniform policies in the county. I guess you could say, you know, it appears that because of the governor's position, they cannot mandate masks in the courthouse, in the entry, in the hallways, etc. However, individual judges do have the ability to mandate masks in their courtroom. And so we have some courtrooms that do have a mask mandate, and we have some that don't. And so I don't know what that will look like if we start to pick juries again in October due to the COVID situation. Prior to this fire, we were picking juries in the jury assembly room, and the jurors were kept 6 feet apart, and it was mandatory that everyone wear a mask in the jury assembly room. Now, that obviously made picking a jury hard, which I think I talked about before, but I'm unclear now whether the governor's new position that no one can have a mask mandate in a government facility, let's say, would mean that the potential jurors in the jury room would now have to wear a mask. I think it could be interpreted that they would not have to if they did not want to. However, once in a judge's courtroom, the judge can mandate. So I don't know what it's going to look like once the courthouse is repaired. I know we have, like I said, at least one judge who is going to do everything she can to resume jury trials in October. And I guess the only way that could stop would be if the Galveston County Health District issues, you know, mandates regarding safety. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But for those of you that are current clients watching, you're just going to have to continue to call. Most of you
Diaz
that have your email address on file with me have access to my system, and you can check your court date, and we try to update on your court date. We try to update whether or not you have to appear in the information. Since things have been changing so rapidly, I have Karina calling, typically starting the week before, to tell everyone for next week who does and who does not have to appear, because in some courts no one has to appear unless you need to talk to the judge. Unless you physically need to be in front of the judge, you don't have to appear. I can take care of it for you. On at least 3 occasions, we've had policies change, and so we've called and said you need to be there, and then the court makes a change about who has to be there, so now you don't have to be there, and people get upset when they find out they didn't have to be there and we had told them they did have to be there. But it's not because we don't know what's going on, it's because things change according to availability of courtrooms in the courthouse on any given day. And again, recently in one court, we got notice on a Friday, I think it was, that Monday's docket was going to be at 1:30 in the afternoon, and our clients needed to be there, and we needed to call them all and tell them. And yes, I know it makes it difficult for your job, or for you to take off work, or tell your boss that, you know, you had to be off in the morning so you could be in court, but then you'd be into work. Now we call you and tell you it's changed to 1:30 in the afternoon with one business day notice. I get it. It's not fun for us either, but I don't make the rules. If the judge tells me you have to be there and changes the time, there's nothing I can do about it. Now, most judges are understanding, and if it was a situation where you found, you know, you were going to get fired, the judge would likely let me appear and get you another date later in the week just to make sure that you do appear. But you know, I guess what I'm saying is some people get frustrated with everything that's going on, but it's not. We have very little control over the dockets and who has to appear. And the thing is, once the building is finished and goes back to normal, then we'll know which courts will make you appear and which courts won't. And I guess some of that will be related to COVID numbers and whatnot, because some courts treat it differently than others, but it'll get back to a more stable environment. Another issue that a lot of clients have is they feel like nothing's going on, and for some cases that is not true, but there is some truth to it, and it's not because nothing's going on, it's because the DA's office was gutted due to the flooding, and so they have to rebuild the office, which means prosecutors have nowhere to work. If there is a meeting that needs to happen to look at a video, it can't be done in the DA's office right now because there's no meeting place. If prosecutors needed to meet with a witness in person to discuss a case in particular, it can be difficult as there's nowhere for them to meet. As I understand it, the computer system that they use for their work, their desktop has to be on and connected for them to connect to the system remotely from home. Since the office has been gutted, that means their desktop computers are not connected, so they can't get to their online system to be able to get in and look at a case and look at notes and what may have been done and not. Now, that's not to say none of the prosecutors are working. It's just that what they're having to do is come physically get files, take them home, and do it old school the way we used to do it. And yes, they are doing that, but they're not taking hundreds of cases home at a time. It's just not realistic. They're taking the cases that are coming up on the docket. And obviously there are prosecutors working every day, all day. All of them are. But on some bonded cases, things are going to slow down because there's not necessarily a sense of urgency for them, depending upon which court your case happens to be pending in, because deadlines aren't coming up. So if a deadline's not coming up on your case, they're more worried about the cases ahead of yours that do have deadlines coming up, or let's say the people in jail. So it's frustrating for us too, because there are things I'm waiting for so that I can proceed forward on your case that I can't do anything until they get it to me. But like I said, I understand it. You know, if my building caught on fire and I had all this damage, I would be in the same situation. Y'all watch my lives, you see that I do it from my office every time. I just don't work well from home, and I don't have, you know, a satellite office. So I understand. And we're all just doing the best we can do to move forward. I see Mama's watching and Aunt Barbara. I don't see any questions. I didn't pick a topic this week because I wanted to address the issue of the status of the courthouse as it is right now, which is still under construction, and I don't have a date. You know, I don't know if anybody has a date of when it'll actually be finished, but they have made a lot of progress. From what I can see, what's left is mainly painting and carpet. All the ceiling tiles appear to have been replaced. I've heard from some people who have been actually in some of the courtrooms on the second and third floors, and they say they're coming along very, very well. And I see Todd DuPont on here talking about when I had brown hair. I remember when I had brown hair too, Todd. But back to the courthouse. So that's the status. It should open up soon and be repaired, but then we may have another not necessarily shutdown, but slow down in the jury trial process because of the rise in COVID numbers now. I think we're all waiting to see what the health district does about that. I guess that'll be Dr. Kaiser's decision. In the past, the presiding judge, which I believe right now is John Ellisor, communicates with Dr. Kaiser to see what the best practices are for having people congregate in the courthouse, in dockets, number of people in a courtroom, those types of things. And since the fire shut us down for a while, I don't know, and now the numbers are rising, I don't know if that'll change or go back to the way it was before the fire. That's just something we'll have to see. I will update you guys on here, and of course all my current clients can just call the office, email me, whatever, to get your information, and we can discuss your case specifically. But that's about all I got for today. Y'all have a good rest of your week, and I'll see y'all next Tuesday.